I had a lot of fun with about, I'd say 90% of this chapter. And there's still the one thing that bothered me, and they decided to expand upon it. But for the most part, it was good. So we left off, Escanor, has gone beyond the one. He's calling it. Was it supposed to be called the One Ultimate, or I thought it was called the Ultimate One. That yeah, the One's Ultimate. It's weird because the last translation is different. Chapter title is different than what's on the actual panel. I don't know, but as said, like he's in this form. I figured it was much more like maybe some way of like straight burning like the entirety of the power itself, maybe just some like double-edged one. And it's actually it's not really the power of sunshine at this point. He's straight using his life force. So here we have Escanor, who's just like straight draining, fueling the rest of like the years of his life into maintaining the one. The question on that, I've seen a lot of people say, is how, because like what was his power level by itself, like 15 at his straight plain Escanor, no sunshine. But I mean, it's hard to kind of like determine like life force with like your straight power level. But that makes the question of like why other characters in the series couldn't do something similar. Especially like Bond when he was immortal. I don't know, like couldn't he just like use his life force as a weapon all the time? Hmm. I'm a little bit cautious about that because that one it's a little bit of a weird thing to kind of like introduce way later on in the series. I'm kind of okay with it because it seems to only be going to Escanor. I mean, just give it to him. Maybe explain why only Escanor could do it. Maybe because his body is different. I don't know. But he's just straight like going all out. He doesn't expect to live through this fight. He just wants to take the deep down. He wants to fight alongside his friends one last time, and to really just have that final display of who he is. And I know a lot of people have been a little bit rustled by it, but this is a character's last stand, and I highly doubt Escanor is going to be the one to defeat the Demon King. It's going to be Meliodas. He's the main character. It's going to go to him. It's not going to go to not gonna go to Escanor. I mean, especially this is the final fight. Like if this was like like just some big arc battle, I would probably agree. But the final fight is completely different. Gotta give it to the main character. The main character for a reason. But he's throwing punches at the dude, just beating the hell out of the Demon King instead of being them. Oh yeah, we're equal, except the one is on a timer. Now he's in the one ultimate, and he's a lot more powerful than the Demon King. He's just bigger, throwing punches all around, smashing into the dude, and just laying and giving him hands. He's just humbling the hell out of him. I know that the panel. I'm using that panel for the thumbnail because I really liked this one. It was such a nice kind of going out one. There were a lot of like really cool ones. I'm trying to remember which one I really liked. I think the one where he's telling Meliodas like how happy being in the group made him is probably the coolest looking panel of just the ultimate one's face, like the way his like cool fire mustache is going. But as he's pummeling in, friends start to come in trying to assist because they want to talk to him. They're obviously upset that Escanor is giving away years of his life in order to get this going, in order to defeat this guy, and they got to understand his feelings. I think that's one of the things he decides to bring across them. It's sad that he's not going to live through this. This seems to be the end of him, which I think it's a better end than we could than him just staying around. Because I think one of the things that was pretty much established is whether it's romantic or not, Merlin is a lot more attached to Arthur. I mean, we don't know if there's going to be some romantic relationship between them when Arthur fully grows up. I think it'd be nicer than, him getting completely sidelined for Merlin to be with Arthur and Escanor just gets nothing. I think him going down a hero will be a lot cooler. I think it's a lot better for his character because now we're seeing him kind of like put his pride aside as, the sin of pride. And I thought that was a really nice thing. He's like talking about how originally he was just kind of like he would just turn into his like prideful berserker self, cause problems, be a nuisance. But when he met Meliodas, I I like the way that it's described. My problem is how it kind of like is retconning previous statements about how the one especially was like invincible and undefeatable for that 1 minute, but it's like except for Meliodas, who in his assault mode can just run through him. Where he talks about how like now he's saying during those times he couldn't control his power. He couldn't really use it properly because he never really had much of a fight. And because Meliodas kept beating him over and over and over and over and over again, he eventually had to like fully learn how to like grasp his powers. Which again, I don't really know how that would. I'm really confused about how that part can happen because it's not like he was drawing out of his powers at some point. It was automatic with the way that the sunshine worked with the sun, and the one form. I don't know. Maybe that was before he developed techniques. Maybe back then he just straight like used physical attacks. He didn't go with all of his cool fiery sun-like attacks. I mean, you could leave that up to interpretation. It only bothers me because it kind of like affects statements about his forms and his position. He was the strongest during the day, weakest during the night. But obviously that wouldn't have been the case initially if Meliodas could not only beat him, but like in assault mode just run through him like no problem. But whatever, I like that he's putting his pride aside. He's putting his character aspect aside as his whole trait. To show appreciation to the people in his crew. And he's saying he eventually, with them, he felt like he had somewhere where he belonged. He had that camaraderie in that position. He's like, that made me truly happy. Just being a powerful big shot wasn't enough for me. What actually like made me enjoy life was knowing that I had people that had my back and I had a place to call home. That was really nice of him. Actually, like thinking about that, it makes me wish that the big weird. If you've read the Seven Deadly Sins one shot, originally it wasn't going to be Mama Hawk and then the bar on tip. It was like this big weird like walking spider machine. It's like the big robot machine from Wild Wild West, but each of them had like a little attachment onto them with like a house that belonged to each of the Seven Deadly Sins. I really liked that. I was like Meliodas' sword, and then that base was my favorite thing about the war. I wish both of those carried over. I'm fine with the sword not being it because Lost Bane is pretty cool. I know I like that little short sword from Meliodas, but and I wish that base was the same. But back to the fight, you have like this weird, big like arm spiny tentacle rapey like creature coming out from the Demon King. I don't understand why he keeps making these like kind of constructs. Like he some of these familiars, but they don't really do anything. Like what he had the two stages, and they got like taken down pretty quick, and now he's got this weird darkness tentacle thingy, and it looks like they're gonna beat it pretty quickly. I just don't understand the why would you have like some of these, and then it's like you don't really talk about them, you just have them exist, and then take them out. It reminds me of actually that part reminds me of like way worse than the way it was handled, but maybe salty is Mar and what was it the dude Phantom all his like powers were summonings. He had like was it like 10 different summoning arms, and they all had their own thing, but like the main character just kind of like beat him really quick. It was like this much more hyped up fight. It was weird because that character was like built throughout the whole series, but he wasn't the final villain. There were like two more people above him that kind of dropped. For the most part, like they existed beforehand, but they weren't like built up like he was. And then it was like, what's the point of building this dude up if he wasn't even going to be the big bad? But whatever. The Demon King though, I'm confused of the point of giving him some of these techniques that don't do anything. But they're all like now joining together. They're going up against him. I'm a little bit not happy about the next chapter because it looks like it's going to be going back to Zeldris, like fighting the Demon King from the inside. I mean, really, what's going to happen? We know that he's going to do some attacks and then take the guy down, and the Seven Deadly Sins are going to beat him at the same time. Maybe he wants to get that whole part like set up, and then that final strike going in, and then the Seven Deadly Sins steering back to them, getting their moments. And that was I think that will be alright, but there's a break next issue. So we're gonna have to wait even longer for the next chapter of Seven Deadly Sins. Again, it's this chapter, like I've talked about, like for the most part, the last like big chunk of chapters I've enjoyed. I wasn't a huge fan of the whole Escanor Gaiden because the fact that Assault Mode Meliodas, it's not that he could straight just beat the one. Like, if it was like he beats him before he even got into the one, like, oh, I knew I had to defeat you before the one form came up because that form, it would be too much for me. Or he stalled out the one form, like maybe the one was too powerful, but he wasn't fast enough. And then Meliodas, just kind of like dodges around him for the minute. And then after I really didn't like how Assault Mode Meliodas could just not only beat him, but run through him like nothing. But I do like this closure for Escanor. I do like the way he's going out. I think that's going to be really nice for his character, and it's going to really cement him further into my favorite Sin. I doubt any of the Sins are going to have anything left in the series to really top him in this aspect. And really, also this really just hammers in that this is the series, and it's called Seven Deadly Sins, and it's going to be the sixth deadly sin soon. I mean, you could have somebody else step in to be the seventh of the seven deadly sins to replace Escanor, but doubt it. He does like this is the end game. And Nakaba could change his mind, but for the most part, it doesn't look that way. But tell me in the comment section below what you thought about this chapter. Again, Escanor. I'm glad he's getting something before the end of the series. I'm glad he's getting something. It's been much more focused on him as a character in the last couple times that he's been in the spotlight, and less of how powerful he is, which I really liked. Because his character, I think, just had a lot of potential, and it's now being fully bloomed before the series comes to an end. And he hasn't bothered me like certain other characters in the series, but I do enjoy him a lot. Really cool. Anyway, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend the like button, and subscribe button. Check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. And thank you all for listening. Bye.